What's going on, family and friends? Welcome back to My Thoughts Uncut. I am your host, Terrence Manning. Thank you for watching. We're going to talk about how Brandon Johnson continuously fails the city of Chicago. We're going to look at what he has to say about his community surcharge and how he's getting pushback on it. Let's take a look.
Following a Veterans Day event in Little Village, mayoral ally Alderman Byron Sitio Lopez confronted Governor J.B. Pritzker about why he's against the head tax.
Yeah, you want to talk about taxes? Yes, and you opposed it.
Videos were shot and shared on social media. The fight over Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposal to tax companies with more than 100 employees is getting louder as Johnson scrambles for votes.
We have a choice here. Either corporations are going to pay or working class people are going to pay more in property taxes and grocery taxes.
What he doesn't understand is because of Mayor Brandon Johnson, the people are going to pay more because he's not running the city right. He has no idea what he's doing. It's almost weekly, bi-weekly. There's stories about how his budget is just completely failing over and over again.
Chicago Teachers Union is behind a campaign called Chicagoans Against Trump Cuts. CTU is spending money targeting wards where alders are against the head tax or undecided.
The head tax is a job-crushing tax. It's a disincentive for businesses to grow in Chicago and bring new jobs to Chicago.
Business and civic organizations are working just as hard to urge alders to vote no on a budget with a head tax. The mayor says money generated for the tax will pay for public safety, but the business community says it has already contributed.
Yeah, if you are a business or you want to have a business in Chicago, why would you stay or why would you go to Chicago and have your business there if they're going to just continuously try to tax you and blame you for everything and try to get your resources? What people don't understand is you keep taxing these small businesses and large corporations in Chicago, just in the US in general. What they're going to do is they're going to shorten their staff because what's the most expense for a corporation or business is wages. It's people that are working there. So if you continuously tax them on something else, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to cut staff and they're going to go automated AI. They're going to start going in those kind of ventures.
The civic committee and business organizations throughout Chicago raised $150 million for
That's pretty
public
good.
safety. I think the business community stepped up for public safety.
The money includes jobs for South and West Side residents. And while outside interests wage their wars for and against the head tax, inside City Hall, the mayor and Budget Committee Chairman Alderman Jason Irvin are considering raising the monthly $21 per employee tax for companies with 100 employees to 200.
I think that partially the head count's been in conversation, the rate has been in conversation, so haven't landed that plane fully yet, but I know that those are ongoing conversations.
What they don't understand is why are you going to continuously tax these corporations? They're not going to stay. They're leaving. Do they not understand their businesses are leaving Chicago because of his incompetence? He's a horrible mayor. Even the governor is against what he's doing with this headcount tax because all you're going to do is drive businesses away and prevent businesses from coming over there. It's the same thing what happened with Silicon Valley in California. All these people left because California's taxes are enormously high, one of the highest in the state, in the country, actually. It's like top 3, I believe. So all you're going to do is hurt the actual people that live in Chicago because these businesses are going to leave and then they're not going to have jobs. They're going to take these jobs to different states. Let's see what Brandon Johnson has to say when someone actually questioned him about this headcount tax.
The community safety surcharge. It's a job killer for the city. Why, if I were Google, would I stay here in the city and pay that head tax instead of going out to Naperville?
The notion that these taxes kill jobs, there's just no empirical data that corroborates that. It just doesn't exist, you all. We found a way.
It's common sense. If you're going to continue, it's just like if you raise rent for someone, eventually they're going to leave and find a place that's cheaper. That's just how it works. If you continuously raise the price for someone, they're eventually going to have enough and fit. living in Chicago is not going to be enough for these people. They're just going to leave.
Way to generate revenue without it being on the backs of working people, without having to raise property taxes, without expanding garbage fees, without collecting a grocery tax. As someone who is a part of the labor movement, who comes out of the working class, my father who worked his butt off, the third shift to raise 10 kids, I know what it's like to open up a refrigerator and there's no food in it.
I don't know what open up a refrigerator and having no food in it relates to the question the lady asked about what do you think Google's going to do if you have this head tax and they have to have the brunt of it. That has nothing to do with what's in your groceries when you were a young man. I don't understand what he's talking about. He is like the Midwest version of Kamala Harris, is this word salad. And it has nothing to do with the question that she asked him, because he's ducking the question. And the reason why Chicago is in this kind of bind is because he is having all this money go to illegal immigrants. They're getting all the resources. So he's worried about the people of Chicago suffering because of Trump and big corporations. It's actually him who's making these people suffer the most.
I know what it's like to have an orange extension cord from my window to our neighbor's window because we cannot afford electricity. There's no way in the world that I'm going to present a budget that's going to harm the working class. So in terms of the corporate responsibility that we're calling for through the community safety surcharge, that's going to go towards $50 million to hire young people. It's going to go to the wellness and the health of our police officers. There's a provision in there that ensures that we're providing support for victims and survivors of domestic and gender-based violence. And then, of course, our CVI workers, which has been demonstrated all over the city of Chicago, where brown and black organizations have community members who are working in some of the toughest precincts in the city where they have.
He's just talking about nonsense. He's not even sticking to the subject. We're going to go to the next video. But before we do, how are you people in Chicago dealing with this? Let me know in the comments below. And let's just look at this next clip.
Subset of constituents, and he's doing so in a very ideologically driven way.
I think there are concrete results or recommendations from the EY report. Concrete recommendations that we as the council can say, we want these implemented, you need to implement them, stop ignoring them, and help reduce the cost on taxpayers in your budget.
Today, a representative from EY appearing before the Budget Committee to discuss the report and answer questions.
EY's work was in no way an audit or a forensic analysis of the city's budget or finances.
The mayor, meanwhile, continuing to defend his corporate head tax proposal.
Well, look, we still believe that the best way to balance our budget is challenging larger corporations to pay their fair share. As I've said from the very beginning, my values I protect.
The mayor's budget director
what he doesn't get is these large corporations are actually having these people in Chicago have jobs. They're providing jobs for these people. And then you're trying to punish them because they are large corporations. You need to find another way to budget within the city without these high taxes on corporations that provide the income for the people that live in Chicago. You also have to get rid of all the illegal immigrants that you have in the city that are also causing the resources to be taken away in your budget from the things that are actually needed, like public safety. And then you have to actually embrace Trump's plan to try to get Chicago back to where it can be a place where it's safe and people can come there to visit. There's tourists going on. You're not going to have that if you're driving away these businesses because you're high tax, high on crime, and you're using all the resources for what? Illegal immigrants.
Missing critics and defending the city's proposed savings and efficiencies.
There's a difference between someone looking at a report or making estimations on their own about what a savings is and us actually doing the work.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson's in a world of trouble. Chicago's in a world of trouble. They are heading down a path to bankruptcy. I don't know what is going to take place. I feel bad for the people in Chicago because there's people that believe him and think that what he's doing is the right thing. And they're anti-Trump and they're anti-public safety because when you have National Guard there and when you have ICE there and you have the police that's working along with ICE to get rid of these criminals, to get them out the country and or put them in jail if they're U.S. citizens. It's a tough thing to swallow when you are living there. And the only thing that I can see happening to save the city of Chicago is the Chicago Flips Red. They're an awesome group. And voting out Brandon Johnson. You need a new mayor that's responsible, that has a business background, because this guy is a high school teacher. High school teacher to run in one of the largest cities in the US. I think Chicago's top 5. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and thank you again. Peace.